Okay, so the Rice Rocket Rider goes up to the old crusty vintage bike rider and he says, "Man, why you got so many old bikes?" And the vintage rider says, "Well, I'll tell you, sonny boy, it's because all bikes made after 1980, they're just so pointless." Wah, wah. Okay, so we're going to be working on the points and the points plate on this bike. This is a 1977 CB 550. I'll tell you about the symptoms that I was experiencing. I got this bike and the cover was already off. It was just like this as you see it, and I always see that as a bad sign because it means that somebody took the bike apart and couldn't figure out what was wrong and didn't put it back together. And you know, corrosion gets in there and all kinds of shit. These strange little seeds that are all over the place now, all over the place in there. You can see it's filthy in here. So I'm going to be working on this points plate. I got the bike, put a fresh battery in it, cranked it over a bit, and I was only getting spark on 1 and 4. So I thought to myself immediately, must be the 2 and 3 coil. So I switched the coils out between 1 and 4, and again I was only getting spark on 1 and 4, and I was like, okay, so the coil's probably good. I got to go back and figure out what's wrong. And so I went back here, I took a look at this points plate, which was already exposed. And I see a couple of things which alarm me a little bit. First off, the points, these are the 2 and 3 points right here, and this is 1 and 4. This surface in here where the points are, it's a little bit worn down, a little bit cruddy. Also, these condensers down here, to me they both look kind of nasty. I don't know if this is like oil or whatever, or some kind of goo from inside the condensers, but it seems to be seeping something, and it's just nasty. And also this one's all dented up, so I don't know what happened there. Maybe the guy got frustrated, but I decided I'm just gonna, rather than struggle with this, I'm just gonna replace the whole thing. But first we're gonna talk about, you know, what the points plate are and what this points plate is and how it works. Alright, so basically each set of points here is just like a switch, and there's a circuit going from the battery to the coils, down here to the points, and then back to the frame of the bike, and it grounds out into the battery. When these points connect, right here you can see 1 and 4 is connected, 2 and 3 is open. It completes the circuit and allows a spark to flow. This right here is my crankshaft, and I don't know if you guys can pick that up, but as I rotate the crankshaft around, you can see this one's opening and this one's closing. You see that? That's because there's this little lobe on the crankshaft that sort of pushes this out, pushes this up and down. This little breaker connection here, and this one as well. Now I'm noticing a couple of problems. First off, as you can see, this 2 and 3, it never makes a connection. Whoops. It never connects, so that was adjusted way too far out. Also, I'm suspecting my my condensers are bad. This condenser, it's kind of like a bucket, and it fills itself with electricity and then just sort of dumps it out at the appropriate time. This is so that you don't get any arcing between these 2 points here, because that can cause pre-detonation, pre-ignition, all kinds of problems. You want it to close off, or you want the spark to come, or rather the electricity to flow when it's completely closed, and that way you'll stay in time. So I'm thinking these are bad. I noticed when I had this thing cranking around, we were arcing here, even though this wasn't actually touching, we were arcing here, and the 1 and 4 seemed to be just humming along just like it ought to, but this one was arcing and then not arcing. It was just a mess. So I think what happened was this guy tried to compensate for this thing which was wearing down or failing or whatever, and I actually have no idea what he did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take visual markers of where this points plate, how it's mounted, because by loosening off these 3 screws here and by rotating a little bit, that's how you adjust the timing. And so I'd like to put it back to more or less the same timing where it was, assuming of course that the previous owner knew what the hell he was doing, which is a big assumption. But that's where I'm going to take my first reading. So I'm going to just sort of remember where everything is here, unscrew all these, and then swap in this points plate, which looks a lot better. Nice pretty condensers here, good looking brush, keeps everything clean. The points look pretty good on it, and I'm going to show you guys how to clean up points in a minute and how to set them. But I'm just going to swap this out, and then we'll hook it all up. Alright, so I got my new points plate in here. The points, to me, look pretty good. Really, with points, when in doubt, just replace them. I mean, it's really not worth struggling to make old junky points work, you know. If they're not going to make a good connection in here, just replace them. They're super cheap, you know, there's really no reason not to. But I don't know how these ones are going to act yet. The guy who sold them to me said that they came off with a good running bite, so we'll see. Now I'm going to clean them up a little bit. Just take a little piece of fine grit sandpaper here. And just clean them up, you know, just a little bit. You want to scour both surfaces. Nothing too crazy. Go like that. Then I'm just going to take a piece of paper. Some guys like to wet it with acetone first. That's a good idea. But I'm just going to take a piece of paper, and it just clean it up, you know. There you go. Give it a good blow. Blow it with your compressor. Clean up a little bit. Because you want a good smooth surface. Oops, gotta tighten that down. You want a good smooth surface, and you want it to be clean of any kind of corrosion that would form right there. So I'm going to do the same to this side, and then I'm going to set the points. Alright, now to set these points, I have my feeler gauge, and it is set at 16/1000 of an inch, as advised by my repair manual. And what I'm basically going to do, we're going to start with the 1 and 4. I'm going to rotate my crankshaft here so that the 1 and 4 is totally open, as I believe it was. Oh, a minute. There we go, right there. I'm going to put this in here, and then I'm going to loosen this screw here, and it's going to sort of fall down into place. There we go. There we go. It usually takes a little bit of tinkering around, just because once you tighten it, you got to recheck and make sure that you're still in the same thickness. But see? There we go, that's perfect. And now I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to open it up just like I did this one, and set it that way. Alright, now timing procedures are different on many different bikes, but you're going to look in your timing marks are going to be. Alright, now the timing procedure varies from bike to bike, but the concept is the same. If you have a points plate like this one, basically, like I said, you're just going to loosen off these 3 screws and rotate it back and forth to advance or retard the timing. You're going to find your timing points in there, and you'll see them as they rotate around, but you'll see them through a hole, you know, through there or something similar. And you can use a timing light or other different procedures. Just go on the recommendation of your repair manual and you'll get there. It's not too hard. Points in action. like it's time to charge up that battery. Alrighty, so everything's all put back together. Let's see how she runs. That's all there was to it. Adorable.